We continue now at the top of Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph Meseches Eruvin. This is Eruvin Daf 34a. The Gemara had said that if you have an Eruv in a tree above 10 Tfachim, but it's in a basket on that tree, since in theory you can tilt that basket to bring it below 10 Tfachim, therefore the Eruv Tchumen is good. And the Gemara had asked on that from a Mishnah, because the Mishnah says that you need to bring the Eruv Tchum to the area where you want to make the Eruv. You do not say that since in theory you could bring it there, it's good enough. That's what the Gemara now asks. Amai, why is that true? Name, we should say, Kevon di boyam tuye, since in theory you could bring it there, Motzi mamti le, since if he wanted to bring it there, he could bring it there. Alpha gavdelo amtiye, command amti adami. Even though he didn't actually bring it there, it should be as if he did. Again, we should apply the idea that as long as in theory you could bring it there, that's good enough. Why don't we apply that in a normal case of Erev Tchum? And the Gemara answers, Amar Reb Zeir says, Gezeira misham yomtiv shechol lios achar Shabbos. Really, you're right. Really, we could say by all Erev Tchumen that the fact that you could, in theory, bring it to that area would be good enough to create a makom shvisa for an Erev Tchum. However, there's a gzeir in a situation, let's say Yom Tov falls out after Shabbos. In that case, there's not even a way to theoretically bring the Erev because it's Shabbos. Erev Yom Tov is Shabbos in this case. But we're afraid that you're going to think that the Erev is good because you're going to think, oh, this is how I do it every other week, so you'll make a mistake. That's the only reason we make you bring the bread to the actual area. Rashi here explains, Amar Reb Zeira, Had atzruchu rabbanon l'chol hama'arvin l'holech eruvan l'makom shvisas. And the reason why the rabbanon say that you have to bring the Erev to the area where your shvisa is, Gezeira misham Yom Tov achar Shabbos, is because of a Gezeira. Yom Tov falls out on Sunday. Di boy lamtuye b'Shabbos lo erev liyom ha'machras lo matzi mamti. Like you wouldn't be able to bring it on Shabbos. But tzarich lo lichum erev Shabbos. You really need to bring him erev Shabbos. V'yamrit bi'alma nishvike bebeisei misham hoel hachanami asi l'mismach oleh v'nafik al erev shvisaso b'Yom Tov achar Shabbos v'asma afilu hoelek. If you did this on a normal basis, you would get confused. You would do it even in a situation like this, where it's really impossible to do that. So that's the answer for that particular question. Gemara now asks a similar question. Eisve, we ask the following question. Niskavin lishvos b'rishas harabim ve'iniach eruvo bekosel. Let's say a person wants to make his makom shvisa in rishas harabim, and he puts his eruv in a wall. Lamata me'asar tvachim eruvo eruv. So if he puts it in the wall below 10 tvachim, within 10 tvachim of the ground, it's okay, again, because him and his eruv are in rishas harabim. Lamala miyut tvachim, but if he puts it in the wall above 10 tvachim, ein eruvo eruv. It's not going to be a good eruv, because again, the eruv is in rishas hayachid, and he's making his makom shvisa, he's having kavana that the area of his shvisa is in rishas harabim. And then the Brisa says, Neskavin lishvos berosh hashovach or berosh hamigdol. Let's say he has kavana that he wants to make his makom shvisa. His residence is going to be at the top of a dovecote, or it's going to be on the top of some kind of a tower. Lamalo miyutvachim eruvo eruv. We'll see exactly what this means in Rashi. But if he puts it above 10 tvachim, it is a good eruv. Lamata miyutvachim ein eruvo eruv. If it's below 10 tvachim, then it's not a good eruv. So the Gemara asks a similar question. Again, we'll see Rashi for the exact details, but the Gemara asks, V'amai, why should this not be good? Hachanami nema. Here also we should say, Ho'el v'yachol in tosa u'lavio l'soch hasara. Since in theory he could tilt this thing downward and bring it all within 10 tvachim, we should apply the same idea. So the Gemara answers, Amar Reb Yirmiyah. Reb Yirmiyah says, Hacha b'migdal mesumar askinon. Here we're talking about a situation where it's nailed. It cannot be tilted. Rava Amar Rava says, Afilu tema b'migdal she'eno mesumar. You could even say we're talking about a migdal that is not nailed. V'hacha b'migdal arach askinon. We're talking about a very long migdal. The imamti le porsa, that if he takes this migdal and even tilts it a little bit, azal chutz la'arba amos. It's going to end up going outside of the residence of his arba amos. It's going to be too far away to be a good eruv. It's not going to be close enough to where he's making his residence. Gemara then finally asks, Hey chidami, what's the case? Ida ika kvaso misna. If there's some kind of a rope that he can pull this thing right up, so laisi b'chvaso misna, he should bring it up with the rope. Gemara answers, the less like kvaso misna, he doesn't have these things, and therefore he cannot do it. Let's take a look at Rashi and see the various explanations. So Rashi over here says, V'yiniach eruva b'kosel samach l'makom shvisaso. Again, there's a wall nearby where he's making his makom shvisa, and he puts the eruv in the wall. Chutz la'arba amos kamar. Also, this is outside of the arba amos. Uchudu kimna be'ilon. That's the same thing we said by the ilon. Ditoch arba amos afilu lamala miyud nami eruv eruv. We already said that if you're within daled amos and it's all rishas hayachid, then even above 10 is okay. Ta'anos and it's eruv yeshlo arba amos, because even if where the eruv is put is considered rishas hayachid, and even if below is a rishas harabim technically, but since you have daled amos, it's all considered rishas hayachid in terms of eruv tchum, and it would all be good. So obviously it's outside of the daled amos. That's the case here by the wall. Lamata me'asara eruvo eruv. If it's within 10 tvachim of the ground, it's good eruv. V'alfagav de eruvo chutz l'arba amos. Even though it's outside his arba amos, motzi shakale ve'suye pachos me'arba amos. Rashi says what he said earlier. You could always carry it a little bit at a time, a little less than dalet amos at a time. This is not even a problem on Shabbos. In such a situation, it's only an Isser D'Rabbanan, Shvus D'Rabbanan, V'achad Bein Hashmashas Lo Gazer. And again, we're following the opinion over here that Bein Hashmashas, there's no problems of D'Rabbanans, so it's not an issue. And Rashi continues, that's Lamata Me'asara, it's going to be okay, but Lamala Me'asara ain't no Eruv. Again, if he's putting the Eruv above 10 Tvachim in the wall, it's not going to be good. Why? Because outside the Arba Amos of his Shvisa is considered Rosh Hashanah. He can't take it from the wall, which is now Rosh Hashanah, because it's high up, from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. And of course, since it's not within his Arba Amos of his Shvisa, it's not considered like it's a filled up area. It's not considered as if it's a Rosh Hashanah for halachos of Tchumen. Fine. Then it said Niskavin lishvos shvisaso barosh hamigdol v'hugavo aharbe v'hiniach eruvo l'socho. Again, top of some kind of tower, some kind of high item, and he's on top of it. That's where his shvi says it's very high, and he puts his eruv within that thing. So Rashi continues, if he places the eruv above 10 tefachim from the ground, hinicho, according to this pshat and Rashi, he's placing the eruv above 10 tefachim, eruvo eruv. It's going to be a good eruv. In other words, he is high up on the migdol, and also the eruv is also high up. It's above 10 tefachim. And now Rashi says, so now you might ask, what about the fact that he can't take it from one Rosh Hashanah to his Rosh Hashanah? It's sitting in Rosh Hashanah, and he's in a different Rosh Hashanah. There's a Rosh Hashanah in between. He's bringing it from one Rosh Hashanah to another through Rosh Hashanah. It says that if you pass something in that manner, you're chayiv on Shabbos. So that's a kasha. So Rashi says, no, even though that's the case, he can actually go down and eat it in the area where it is. Because since it's above 10 tvachim, that's like the same area where he has a shvisa. Because everywhere from above 10 until the rakia, everything in that area, in that domain, is all considered one reshus. So what Rashi is understanding in this pshat is that since he himself has made his residence above 10 tvachim from the ground, more than 10 tvachim above the ground, and since the eruv is more than 10 tvachim above the ground, so it's all considered within the same area. It's not really a problem, and he could just bring it down and eat it, and it won't be an issue. But if it's below 10 tvachim, kagon sheyesh aliyos lemigdal zu. Let's say there's a bunch of steps on this migdal, zu l'malam mizu, one above the other. V'hinicho ba'aliyah shalamatamir, and he puts it on a step that's below 10 tvachim to have a carmelis, which is a carmelis. Then Rashi says ein eruv eruv. It's not a good eruv. The halomotzi lemishkale ma'ahu carmelis ve'suya l'rosh migdal shashoves sham. He can't bring it from where it is up to where he is. Misham avir rosh hasharavim to mamdile derech avir rosh hasharavim l'rosh hashayachid. Because what's he really doing? He's taking it from the airspace of from the Carmelis through the airspace of Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. That's a problem, Rashi says. V'nochas v'achal ehasam, and then you'll say, okay, let him climb down and eat it where it is, like we said before. So no, nafik leimi makom shvisa. So there already, he's already leaving his makom shvisa, because again, Rashi said, if you go down a few steps, but it's all above 10 tvachim, then you're all considered in the same area anyway. It's not a big deal. But if you go down a few steps and now you're in an area below 10 tvachim from the ground, that's already a new area, and that's not considered in the same area where he made a shvisa. There needs to be a meal that is fit to be eaten from before Shabbos starts in the area where he's making his makom shvisa. That you do not have in this particular case, because again, he's making his makom shvisa up on top, above 10 tvachim, and this thing is below. He can't carry it to that area because it's going through a Rosh Hashanah, and he can't eat it in the area where it is, because that's not considered the same as his rishus. But the Gemara then asks, why is it not a good eruv below 10? Rashi says the question is, maybe he can tilt this migdal that he's on top of, bring it down lower. It comes out that where his shvisa is in Rosh Hashanah, the same area. So we can eat it in the same area. The Rabbanan is not an issue, as as we said. To al karchach Rebbe, we said that this Bryce is Rebbe. Minatani Reisha he niach eruvo bekosa lamata miasora eruvo erev. We said before that if he puts it below 10, it's still a good erev. Yafagav dehuber Rosh Hashanah eruva bekarmelis. Even though the erev's in a karmelis, he's in Rosh Hashanah. The rabbanans are not an issue, so that's not an issue. So let's apply this rule of Hoel. If this rule of Hoel is an actual halacha, then we could say Hoel that you can tilt the migdal, and in theory it can be below 10 tvachim. That should be good. So the Gemara says, "B'migdal hamesumar." The first answer is it's nailed in. Takuav emismaros bekosel veino yachalintos. It's nailed in with nails, and you can't, even in theory, bend it down. Or b'migdal aruch, or it's very long. Harbe yoser midal amos, more than 4 amos. Techim amti leila migdal ad have rosha lamatim yud. If you bring it all below 10 tefachim, nafik le rosha chutz ladal amos mimakom shahaya hamigdal yosha betchila. It's going to be outside of the dal amos of where it originally was. V'chishake le v'amti le rosha migdal. If you're going to bring the food now to where the migdal is, it comes out he's no longer in the same dalet amos where he originally had kavona to make his makom shvisa. And finally, the Gemara asks, "V'ika kavaso misna." But if you have some kind of a window and a rope, kavasa chalon misna chevel, you have like a hole, a window where you can bring it up through a rope. Imaruba barosh hamigdal. If there's a skylight in the top of the migdal, v'yesh chevel biyado, he's got some kind of rope in his hand. The kosher be'erev, and it's tied to the erev. V'afilu kashu bekarmelis lamatam yud. Even if it's in a karmelis below 10, yevienu etzlo derech tocho shel migdal. Why can't he bring it through the inside of the migdal? Dahami karmelis l'rosh hayachid, who is bringing it straight from a karmelis to Rosh Hashanah. In that situation, he's avoiding, Rashi seems to say, he's avoiding the airspace of the Rosh Hashanah. Then Rashi says, Lishna achrina shamati ve'ikr. Rashi says, I heard a different understanding of this whole discussion. Neskavein lishvos barosh hamigdal barosh hashovach. He wants to make his shvisa on the top of the migdal, as we said, or the top of the shovach. Ahiniach eruva bekosel kai. This is a continuation of the case where he's putting the eruv in a wall. The katani dahashta have ibcha, and in this case it's the reverse. De'ilam malam yud hinicho. In this particular case, if he puts it above 10, bekosel in the wall, eruv, it's going to be a good eruv. Shahamigdal eitzel hakosel. The case over here is that the migdal is right next to the wall. So it's not that there's steps going up the migdal, he's putting it on those things. He's putting on a wall nearby. V'yachalov, he could just bring it to himself. Ein hefsek beineim, there's no real hefsek. Lamata miyud, but let's say it's below 10, Rashi understands here, kagon betefach tashi. It's exactly 9 tefachim high. The rab mechasim, people use it to put their stuff. V'havi Rosh Hashanah. As we said, if you have an area that people use to put their stuff and it's exactly 9 tefachim, it's Rosh Hashanah. Ein eruv erev. Then in that case, it's not a good erev. To lo motzi maisi leimin Rosh Hashanah Rosh Hashanah. You can't bring it from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah. Va'amai leimahol v'yachol intos hamigdal shal makom shvisa lavil l'soch Rosh Hashanah. Then have Rosh Hamigdal karmelis derachav dalad veino gavah yud. Why can't you bend down the migdal, put it into the airspace of the Rosh Hashanah? It won't be 10 high anymore. It'll be a karmelis. Nafik leimin michutz ladalad amos marchik Rosh Hamigdal min erev arba amos. So he says no. It's going to be outside the dalad amos. V'lo motzi lemishkalei l'suye l'Rosh Hamigdal v'nimtza ma'aviro dalad. It's going to be too far away. They said it's too long. Or it's 4 amos from where he originally made shvisa. It's not his original spot. But whatever the case is, the Gemara answers it's too long. And then the Gemara says, Misna chevel kivasa chalon. Again, misna is a rope, kivasa is a window. Yesh chalon b'migdal kinegin makom sha'erev sham. Now Rashi says the pshat would be, there's a window in the migdal opposite where the erev is on the wall. V'yesh chevel katan biyado v'kasher chevel be'erev. There's a rope and it's tied to the erev mibod yom before Shabbos. Afilu kashu b'rosh hashanah l'mata miyud. Even if it's in Rosh Hashanah, v'rosh hasheni have a migdal, and the second side of the rope's in the migdal, Yevianu Etzel, he could still bring it to him. Why? Isn't he taking it from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah? No, the kevan the gudo biyado, because since it's connected, einu elam mishum shavus. That's only the rabbanon. If you carry something in a way where it is already connected with a rope, that's only the rabbanon carrying. When he brings it from Rosh Hashanah to Rosh Hashanah, as we learned, they have a case like this in Meseches Shabbos where the sefer rolls out, so it's eged biyado. It's still connected. It's just rolled out, and then you're trying to scroll it back up. Afilu bar it's atzmo golo etzel. He can roll it back up. He can roll up the scroll to himself. You see that if he's holding one end of the item and he's just rolling it all the way up, that's only the Rabbanon. V'asi aliba the Rebbe Damar lo gazra lashos ben hashmashos. That follows Rebbe that it's not ben hashmashos. In any case, the Gemara's answer, whatever the case is exactly, the Gemara's basic answer is that it's not practical in this case to lean the migdal. Either it's too long, it's going to be outside the Daled Amos, or it has nails in it and there's no rope There's nothing like that that allows you to do it, and that's why in this particular case it is no good. Again, if his shvisa is up high in the migdal or on the shovach, and his eruv is below. The Mishnah said, "Nasnu bebor afilu amak mea ama v'chulu." It said if he puts his eruv in a pit, even if it's 100 amos deep, it's fine. The Gemara says, "High board dekai hecha." Where is this pit exactly? Ilema dekai b'rishos hayachid. If it's sitting in rishos hayachid, and the Gemara will go on to say that's obvious. We'll see the continuation of this discussion in the next video on Daf Lamed Daled Amud Beis.